Emergency CT, and they found a bleed then, and I was rushed up to Bournemouth that night.
There was a penalty was taken, and I just got my wrist up in time. The ball hit my wrist, I hadn't a clue where it was gone and went wide. I looked at it afterwards, and if that ball had hit me in the forehead, God knows what would have happened. I'd rather get a belt for hurley than to get that pace of that ball, because I genuinely didn't see it. Just an instinct was to move my hand up to protect myself. I must admit I got a bit of a fright after that, so I mean it's given me the encouragement, I suppose, now to say, look, let's get the helmet on, you know, not to be getting too many wallops now at this stage of my life.
The one day I didn't have my helmet, I sustained a serious injury. I would have always worn my helmet from being very small, and until that day. I think it was halfway through training. It was a very wet day. The ball got stuck on the ground, and I ended up getting a belt in my left eye.
It is very hard to wear it if you were after hurling for 10 or 12 years without one.
Van Larkin gone back to cover up.
It's like buying a woman buying a new pair of shoes, big high heels, trying to walk in them. You know, it takes fierce getting used to. And then when you miss a ball or two, the first thing you do is you blame the helmet.
I certainly go into a lot of summer camps over the years, and I said to kids, look, you must wear your helmet even if you're only poking around. And of course, straight back to me, you don't wear a helmet, so why should I? You know, so I mean, it is only right, I suppose, that once it's implemented in, it's for every player.
I suppose it's more a habit. I kind of got into not wearing it. I'd say I wore it for the kind of first year senior, and I broke into the senior team in '98. And I suppose from then on, I probably got used to not wearing it. And I suppose if I did have the choice for the rest of my career, I'd probably opt not to wear it.
The bars have certainly been a small bit of a problem, especially when the ball's up the other end of the field. I'm finding that I'm looking at the bars, you know, and you can see 2 bars in front of your nose rather than the one, because you're thinking about it. When the ball's around my area, it's like the helmet doesn't exist, because your focus, I suppose, is heightened.
The reaction time to the breaking ball and to attacking the ball and playing the game, I suppose, will be restricted. And I suppose then when it's not too bad this time of year, but when it comes to the hotter months of the summer, with the heat and the heat of championship battle, I suppose, when the helmet is on you as well, we put an extra pressure. And I suppose you'll be viewing the game differently when you're restricted under a helmet as well.
There's only one fault I'd have with it myself now, is that there'll have to be around something, because a lad passing, you know, you'd see it in the rugby when a lad put out the hand, catch him in, a lad normally might put out the hand and catch the face guard. That'll be a worry for referees in that, I'd say.
As Camogie are a separate association governed by their own official guide and rules, they are not included under the GAA's umbrella on helmet rule. But a motion is going to Camogie Congress at the end of March to bring in a mandatory wearing of helmets for all players.
Safety of our players has to be paramount in everything that we do. That's the most important thing that drives everything that we do in the playing of the game. So there seems to be a good amount of support out there for it. Because there's so much interest in it at the moment through the GAA's implementation of it as well, there's a great awareness of it, and I think that'll probably help our situation as well.
After the ice hockey helmet was introduced for hurlers in 1995, the developments in helmet design have resulted in a safer, lighter and more comfortable helmet, standard IS 355.
As things currently stand, we have 3 manufacturers that comply with the IS 355, and they are Azuri, Mark and Micro.
When I threw it on, it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be honest, you know. It certainly felt an awful lot more comfortable. In the older days when I had looked at helmets, they were like what you'd have at deep sea divers, you know, the big round jokes, you know. Whereas now they're obviously, the manufacturers are more streamlined and they're more attractive for kids, and they're lighter, so it wasn't as big an issue as I thought. Because of an introduction of no square ball now, a goalie will need to have a helmet. In the past you were protected in that 5-yard square around you, no one could come into before the ball. But now in general play, the GAA brought in the rule that means that the square is out, so a goalie is the same as an outfield player. So with the new rule changes, it means the helmet is absolutely vital. You know, I think I'd maybe invest in one anyway if they didn't bring in with the new rule change, even if they hadn't made it compulsory, because it can be dangerous enough in around there, obviously with everybody in the square. At the start I was wearing it around the house at home, you know. It seemed like there could be domestic violence in the Cummins household, but me wearing a helmet. But it's just, you just have to get used to it, and that's the way it is. And whatever you need to do that, you just do it.
I suppose anything that kind of cleans up the game, and I suppose we all know friends and clubmates and teammates from other counties as well that we have got nasty enough injuries because of not wearing the helmets, and some of the guys have been very fortunate and very unlucky, and they've had career-threatening injuries and unable to hurl again, you know, and that's something I suppose no hurler would like to see happen to any colleague or to any friend.
Oh, I'm fine, I'm back working and everything, and our club is back training next Friday, and I hope to be joining them.
And lucky to be going training, you'd have to say as well. Marty Morrissey reporting there. Tomas? never wore a helmet. If you had to stick a lid in you now, and the new regulations, if you're still playing, how would you feel?
I'd find it very hard, Michael, you know, and even watching that piece there, I was laughing at Fan Larkin there. I'd say he's a fair man and he's time to buy the high heels as well, you know. So, but the helmet side of it, Michael, I just couldn't get comfortable with trying to wear one. I find it difficult that it is compulsory now, being honest with you. But when you look at those clips and you see there and those the situation with the injuries and stuff like that, you know, it's probably inevitable. That's my personal opinion. I'm not going to change it. And I suppose if there was to be change, it would be the players that were changed, and most of them now seem to have accepted that it is going to be there and it's going to be there for the long haul. Biggest change obviously is for goalkeepers. Goalkeepers basically don't wear helmets, so that's the big issue. I mean, we're saying up to now 80% of players have been wearing helmets, so there's only a minority of players that are not wearing them, and certainly the goalkeepers come into that category, and I think they're going to find it difficult. It's grand, you know, even today in one of the games, the goalkeeper with sun into his eyes and stuff like that, you know, traditionally he'd be wearing a cap, you know, so we're waiting to see who is going to be the first goalkeeper with a sun visor under the helmet, because it is going to cause a bit of difficulties. There's no doubt about that throughout the summer months, because goalkeepers, you know, I mean, glaring sun in Thurles or whatever it is in Croke Park, it is going to make it very difficult. And if you have a guy 6'7" standing at the square going to come in and top you as well, you will know, you know, it is going to make it more different. And I mean, look, there are regulations out there, Michael. I mean, they have been passed by health and safety standard that it is compulsory. OK, but one of the ththings, and you've been looking at this, about the standards that apply. We saw Pat Daly there talking about the 3 helmet manufacturers who are approved. IS 355 is the regulation and the standard. But not everybody out there is wearing those helmets. No. I mean, I've watched the National League matches over the last 2 weeks, Michael, and certainly even the brands that he has mentioned, I mean, people have interfered with the brands that he's mentioned. People have taken out the centre bar across them, right? Which makes them illegal by the standards at this stage. You also have the helmet brand that he didn't mention that has been traditionally used over the last number of years, and they're now saying that is an illegal helmet to be wearing as well, you know. So I mean, what happens then, do we know, if you're wearing a helmet like that, or if you've interfered with the face guard and you get an injury? Well, my understanding of this, right, and it is there to be questioned as well, is that if you leave the dressing room, go onto the field of play, and you're wearing a helmet that doesn't comply with the IS 355 health and safety standards, it is not eligible for an insurance claim, and you will not be covered under the insurance scheme. So I think there's an awful lot of technical detail in there that's left very, very open, you know. And because you've seen situations, Michael, where if it's an underage match down the country, who's to tell he's wearing a Mark helmet? Who's to tell he's wearing a micro helmet? Who's to say he's wearing a Cooper helmet and how he's covered? Is there going to be a regulation system within the GA that everybody's helmet is checked before they go on the field of play, you know? So and not let out if it's not up to standard. And not let out the side of the dressing room door if it's not up to standard, because there's an awful lot of people out there playing at the moment who are wearing Cooper helmets, who have tampered with the traditional safety standard helmet as well. So, I mean, what's going to happen next? I mean, I think if it is going to be compulsory, there has to be one rule and one set of guidelines, you know. And I mean, you're talking about that, I think, from a profile point of view, Michael, as well. I think it has a big impact on the game as well. That's going to maybe down the road as well. We can have a look at that. All right, Tom. Now, before we go here on Sunday Sport, let's take a look ahead to what's coming up in terms of sport on RTÉ television during the week. Against the Head tomorrow evening reflects on what has been a very good weekend for Ireland in rugby. All the big games reviewed at 8 o'clock on RTE2. Then on Tuesday night we can enjoy the skills of Brazilian football in that international friendly against the Republic of Ireland, and our coverage from the Emirates Stadium begins at 7:30. The new League of Ireland season kicks off this coming weekend, and we mark the occasion with live coverage of Bohemians and Sporting Fingal. Again, it's RTE2 at 7:30. And then later in the evening, the attention switches to boxing coverage from the National Championships here in Dublin, and that programme begins at 9:35. Well, so then, plenty to enjoy during the week. However, that's our lot from Sunday Sport for this week. Now, my thanks once again, of course, to Tommy Lyons and to Tomas Mulcahy, who've been here with me in studio. Next week here on the programme, we feature action from the National Football League and also that game between Tipperary and Kilkenny, hopefully this time. We'll see you then. In the meantime, take care.